You're listening to Just Hit Play with your hosts, Peter and Nick Cabral. If you're tired of your stagnant, streamed music feed, then strap yourselves in for an intergenerational sonic journey through Peter and Nick's favorite songs.
Welcome to episode 106 of Just Hit Play. I'm your host, Peter. With me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how's your morning going?
My morning's going well. Yeah, we're recording a reverse from what we usually do. It is currently 8:43 in the morning. This is the earliest I wake up usually, so we'll see how it goes. But I've got my cold brew coffee, and with that, I'm pretty powerful, so we should be good.
Okay, so it's just after 10. It's 10:45 here at night for me. So yeah, complete reverse to what we're usually doing, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Our schedules just happen to match up this way. And also one of the reasons why we didn't record a little bit earlier is because I have an unfortunate situation going on in my garage right now where I'm recording from. I've just moved house. So I've set up this studio in the garage where I can do my recording and filming. And about an hour ago, I found a dead possum in the garage with a baby Joey clinging to the possum. So it's even weirder. It's even weirder than that. So we called the RSPCA, and so what they've done is they asked. So we put a towel in the dryer and heated up a towel, and we heated up like a wheat pack to see if the Joey would go into. We have this cat carrier, so we put it all in the cat carrier to see if the Joey would go into the cat carrier. It's not. So it looks like we're going to have to get someone from the RSPCA to come out and try to collect the Joey. To make matters even weirder, about a week ago, I was driving at night near where I live, and there's a lot of bushland where I live, and there was a huge carpet snake just going across the road.
Wow.
And so the garage that I have is the roof is, there's a lot of open cavities in the roof where obviously possums can get in. So that also means carpet snakes can get in here as well. So we don't want a carpet snake smelling a dead possum coming into my garage. So it's pretty much, yeah, we'll have to get someone out here tonight to come collect the poor little Joey who's clinging to its mother, unfortunately.
Well, RIP to the possum.
Yeah.
I hope it had a good life, but you know, this is not doing any favors for the stereotype that Australia is
it's a weird place. Yeah.
Is a wilderness land where these sorts of things happen, and you have snakes crawling in through the roof of your house and dropping down onto you while you sleep. Sorry for that visual to anyone who has a snake phobia.
It's fine. So there is a door that leads from my garage into like the house. That door is closed at all times.
Yeah.
I don't think a snake could get in that way. There's probably other ways it could get into the house. Worst case scenario is that it stays in the garage. Now, when I first moved here 16 years ago, where I was staying, I almost stepped on like a carpet snake is not venomous, so you should be fine. I mean, I don't want it to bite me,
of course,
but it's more of a strangler,
okay,
and a swallower. There's another snake called a red-bellied black snake. I almost stepped on one of those, and those are a poisonous snake.
Right.
So we don't want any of those in the house. So we'll see how we go.
But I'm sure, like, paramedics in Australia, like they carry all these antivenoms and whatnot in the ambulance, right?
They do, yeah. Let me tell you a funny story, and I'll tell the listeners a funny story of what happened when I first moved to Australia 16 years ago. I was, I took a few months off just to, get used to the place, and I didn't find a job right away. And I was a bit of a bum when I first moved out here. And I was watching this documentary about snakes in Australia. And the presenter, who was North American, Canadian or American, was talking to an Australian, like bush ranger sort of guy who's out in the bush and knows all the snakes. And he's talking about like the red-bellied black snake and all this kind of stuff. And there's a snake called the brown snake, which sounds really innocuous, but it's one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. And so the presenter goes, "Oh, what happens if you get bit by a brown snake?" And the bush ranger goes, "Yep, no problem. The first thing you want to do is dig a hole because you're going to fucking die."
That's good.
So
terrifying, but good.
Terrifying, yes. So yeah, that was, I think, my first week or second week in Australia was watching this program. I'm like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you're thinking, where the hell did I just move to?
Yeah. It's you get the spiders that the size of your fist. You didn't see any of that, I don't think, when you were here.
No. Whatever you did to prepare your house before we came definitely worked. Didn't really see anything noteworthy.
Okay. Well, let's dedicate this episode to Joey, who's who will be relocated hopefully soon. I've given him a little bit of banana. I had a ripe banana that we were going to use for banana bread, but so he's eaten a little bit of banana. We gave him a little bit of water, so he seems to be chilling okay. We're just waiting now for the RSPCA to come and collect him.
Yeah, shout out Joey.
All right, let's get into some music.
Yes.
You're going first this week, so tell us about your song.
I am going first, and let me tell you, very, very excited to talk about Modern Jam by Travis Scott. It's off his Utopia album, which released at the beginning of August, and it's hard to describe, but this song to me feels like an 80s club banger with modern sensibilities, and I love it. And I'm very excited to see what you have to say about it. So, right. Darren, why don't you just hit play on Modern Jam?
Yeah. Turn up. To the maker.
All right, so Modern Jam, Travis Scott, Utopia album. What did you think of this song?
No, I do like the song, so let me say that off the bat. But I think what I really admire about the song is how brave it is, because it's very experimental. It doesn't sound like any Travis Scott song that I know of, and it doesn't sound like any song that I know of. So he really branched out and took a risk, and I always like when artists take risks with their music. So let me say that kudos to him for taking a risk with the song. The video is amazing. I guess we'll talk about the video a little bit later on, but the video is nuts. So I really dug the song.
Nice. I thought you'd like this song. For that reason, it is experimental, and it's quite unlike any Travis Scott song I've ever heard as well. And when this album first came out, I live with two big Travis Scott fans as well. And so we planned to, at midnight we were all going to gather in my room and get the album going on my stereo setup and have like a little listening party together. And this is, I believe, the third or fourth song on the album. And when this song came on, we were enjoying the album to this point, but when this song came on, it was like the energy shifted in the room, and we all collectively were looking at each other like, oh, okay, this is a really, really good song, and we've never heard anything like it before. It's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah. Now, again, I don't know a lot about modern culture, but let me see if I remember this correctly. Astroworld, that was Travis Scott, right? So this is a bit of a comeback for him?
Yes. So I'm sure most people listening may have heard of the Astroworld incident that happened a couple years ago involving Travis Scott, where at the festival he throws in Houston, a number of people unfortunately passed away due to a crowd crush. He obviously caught a lot of flack and heat in the media and the press because, well, the festival's under his name, and he received a lot of blame for the incident. We won't really get too much into that because, it is an unfortunate subject.
Right, sure.
But yeah, it's this is definitely a comeback album for him, and I feel like the expectations were very high on him to deliver something.
So
good.
So what was the reception like? Because obviously, fans can be quite cruel, and it's really easy to dismiss an artist. So what was the reception like for this record?
Really nice, actually, is that the reception to this album was, I think, overwhelmingly positive. At least among Travis Scott fans. It has been compared to Rodeo, which is that's what 90210 is off of. I really like that song.
Yeah,
that's
like
generally
that song.
thought of as like his best album, I'd say. His last one, Astroworld, was definitely his most successful. And after Astroworld, he began teasing this Utopia album, and 5 years later, the hype and expectations for it were astronomically high because it'd been so long, because everyone sort of knew that he had to release something really good because of the controversies.
Yeah.
And I think he could have played it really safe and released another album that was more leaning into the pop rap that we saw on Astroworld, his last album. But instead, there's a lot of moments of real experimentation and creativity on Utopia. And I think it's that risk-taking that he pulled off that makes this album so well received and so well thought of.
Yeah, that's where I was going too, because you're right. When an artist has his back against the wall and had all this controversy happen to him, that, who would blame him to play it safe and record a hit similar to other hits that he's had? But he hasn't done that. He's gone out and, this song specifically, like, I don't know, but the rest of the album is so different and so vivid. Like, let's talk about the video for a bit, because the video, you said I had to watch the video, which I did, just blew me away. And the color, the cuts, brilliant video.
Yeah, amazing video. And actually the video is a segment from a companion short film that he released to go alongside the album. Are you familiar with A24, the production company, movie production company? He made this short film to go with the album in collaboration with the studio A24. And he collabed with directors like Harmony Korine, Nicholas Winding Refn. I may have butchered his name, but he collabed with directors like that to make a short film for the album, which is basically just music videos that he cut together for all the songs. But he released that in theaters to coincide with the album, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and the video is really just, it's awesome. It definitely feels nostalgic and retro in a way.
Yes, it does.
Really fits with the energy and vibe of the song. And the colors, amazing.
No, I guess I was going to say with album sales, but that's not really a thing anymore with downloads and streams.
It is though.
Is album downloads or album sales still a thing?
It's still a thing, and Travis Scott is, no, I'm going to be critical of him. Travis Scott will do quite literally anything to make money and to like push his album sales higher. He was like, he sells these bundles on his website. So if you buy a t-shirt, you get a copy of the album included. Or like if you buy a hat, you can pay an extra $5 and get a vinyl record of the album.
Right.
So his album sales were insane. I think he sold like 600K first week, which nowadays is really, really good. Like,
that's pretty good, yeah.
Like Drake numbers, Taylor Swift numbers.
Yeah. Paul McCartney did that a few years ago. He was touring Canada, and the ticket sales were not going well at all. And to boost his new record, because I don't know why Paul McCartney would record a new record, but if you bought the record, you got a free concert ticket to see him. I guess trying to boost his record sales, which, if you're going to go see Paul McCartney, you're not going there to listen to new material.
Yeah, no, you're really not. No. But and then there's two other big pieces going into the song that I wanted to mention.
Sure.
The first is it's produced by one half of Daft Punk.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah, but you can sort of hear it, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes sense now that you mentioned that, yeah.
And that leads me to the second point, which is that this is a Kanye song. This is actually a Kanye West song.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is 10 years ago, Kanye released his Yeezus album, which was featured Daft Punk production on a lot of it. easily Kanye's most experimental album.
Right.
And the beat for this song, Modern Jam, came from the demo for I Am a God off Yeezus. And I found a link to like a snippet of the original demo version of that song with the Kanye vocals on it. And yeah, this is a 10-year-old beat.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely can hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that is a common theme on this album, actually. At least 4 songs on the album were Kanye songs that Travis was given, took Kanye off of them, and re-recorded as his own song. And
That's
his influence is sort of all over the album. You can see his fingerprints everywhere. I feel at times while listening to this album that this is just a Kanye West album with Travis Scott doing the vocals.
Nice. Okay.
Which is why I like it so much.
Yeah. I totally understand that. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. So there's a lot of intriguing things about this record then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also is a contributing factor as to why it's so experimental and out there, maybe. Because Kanye has always sort of pushed boundaries with his music.
Yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
So just some cool tidbits, I think.
Nice. That's really neat. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I dig the song. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. But again, I like it when artists take risks. Sometimes they don't always work out, but you know, it's better to take a risk than play it safe. That's the way I've always liked music. For
sure. I completely agree. Have you listened to this one in the car yet?
I've been listening to it in the car quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Great car song.
Yeah. I took a long drive today and I came on a couple of times while I was doing that drive.
Yeah. The bass just really is fantastic. Yeah.
It's a great car song.
Very well mixed song for speakers.
Yeah. No, dug it. Yeah. Pretty good song.
Cool.
All right. Are you interested to get into some EMF now?
I am. Yeah. Okay. I am very interested.
So let me preface this by saying that this song came out in 1990, a time when sort of the acid house movement was starting, the house movement was starting, the rave scene was starting in England. A lot of drugs were coming into the music scene, and the indie music that started to come out from like the north, especially like Manchester area, was very dance oriented. And this is a very dance oriented song. To those that are a little bit older, you know this song very, very well. So we're going to listen to Unbelievable by EMF. Darren, just hit play. Okay, so tell me your thoughts of listening to Unbelievable. I did say last week that you might have heard this at like a stadium or something during a game. Had you ever heard this before?
I actually don't know if I have. Like, I still don't know if I've heard this song anywhere.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that I do really like it. I think this is a really good song, and I quite enjoy listening to it. I really, really like the dancey aspects of it and how strong the groove is. I think it's fantastic.
I think too one of the things that made this song so unique, especially coming out right in the early 90s, is this is the first time that I can think of. Oh, there might be a couple. Now that I think about it, there might be another band as well, where there was a DJ with the band dropping like mixes into the song, which was very new at the time. That hadn't happened a lot. So that was a really interesting aspect of EMF. They were one of the first bands to do that and be really successful doing that.
Now that's sick. That's really cool. And I can see why. This is a very It's a very hip hop coded song, I think. It's obviously made by a band and everything, but I hear lots of elements of hip hop within it, down to the beat, the drums. It definitely feels like a hip hop song in a lot of regards. So yeah, I can see that.
Well, the two samples on the song is one from Andrew Dice Clay. I don't know if you know who Andrew Dice Clay is.
No.
No, he was a comedian back in the, like, still around. He's still alive. He's a comedian who was specifically popular in like the late 80s and like 90s. But he was like a filthy comedian who made like a lot of sex jokes, a lot of anti-women jokes. It was really not everyone's cup of tea.
Okay.
So there is his sample in the song, and then there's also another sample for the Black Panther Party. There is a sample where someone from the Black Panther Party goes, "What the fuck?" So those are the two samples that are specifically in the song.
Yeah, see, it's the sampling, it's the drums. Feels almost like a Beastie Boys song in a lot of ways for me.
It does. Now remember, the Beastie Boys started to release a lot of, not this type of music, but a lot more dancier type of music. We heard "Hey Ladies" on this podcast. We're going to listen to a little bit more Beastie Boys later on, so they definitely have a lot more dance-oriented songs coming up as well.
Now that I've got my praise for the song out of the way, I do have a knock on it. And
what's your knock?
That is the singer's voice.
Oh, he's a horrible singer.
Okay, I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, he can't sing. Yeah,
not at all. And this may be an unfair generalization, but when I hear his voice, I think, yeah, that's a 90s voice. You know, it just sounds like a lot of 90s songs that I've heard have the singer just singing in this sort of style, right. Where it's almost like a lazy, like laid back, mellow sort of thing. I don't know. It's like he's whispering in your ear, but like not in a pleasant way.
No, he definitely does not have a powerful voice. So it's a very wispy type of voice. It's more, again, it's the drugs that people were consuming at the times. It's going out to a club and listening to indie rock dance music. That was more important than, what the singer sounded like, I guess.
I totally get that. There's a lot of music I like primarily for the production and the beats and instrumentals, and whatever the singer's doing on top of that is like window dressing. I have a lot of music like that, so I get it, and it doesn't really impact my enjoyment of the song too much because the rest of it's so good.
Well, let me tell you, worldwide, this song was huge. It went. The only country it went to number one is the United States. Everywhere else it charted really well, but the United States is the only country where it went to number one.
And this is a British band?
It is a British band, yeah.
Interesting.
They're from the Forest of Dean, which I don't know exactly where that is. As soon as I think of the Forest of Dean, I just think of Harry Potter, because that's where Hermione takes them in the last book to the Forest of Dean. So apparently there was a music scene around the Forest of Dean. I didn't know that.
The only other forest I know in England is Nottingham Forest. So
Right, yeah.
I wonder if they're close by.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Now, in North America, in Australia, a place like that, they are considered a one-hit wonder, because this is the only song that anyone knows probably from them. But in England, they had a bit more longevity. There was another song called Lies, which was quite popular in England, but it didn't really do anything anywhere else. So they are considered a one-hit wonder. So
this would be the sort of song that like you would have heard on the radio for the first time?
Constantly, yes.
Constantly, yeah.
You couldn't get away from it. Luckily, I enjoyed it.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really is a good song. It's a good groove to the point where I feel like I can just have this playing when I'm doing anything. And it just fits right in, and I can bob my head along, no problem, whether I'm cooking or doing the dishes or driving or brushing my teeth before bed, whatever. Like this song just puts me in a good mood.
Like, I think you can understand why I asked if you'd heard this in the stadium, because this is definitely a song. Like if an amazing play is done, or like, you know, a catch or a tackle, this song gets played at times. I'm sure you could understand that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a stadium song for sure.
Yeah. Just a couple more things. The band didn't last very long. I think they lasted till about 1996, 97. They just did not have the same success they had with this song. This was their flash in the pan song. They would get back together. They would tour. They would get back together, play like one-off shows. They did release an album last year. I've not heard this album. I did not know they were still together.
Wow.
So I can't tell you if it's any good. I'm going to say it's probably not a great album, but you know, it could be. So they're still kicking around.
Hey, Slow Dive released a 30-year comeback album, and it was pretty good. So you never know.
Yeah, I told you I've seen Slow Dive, right?
Yeah, and I'm internally jealous of that.
Yeah, good band.
Yeah, legendary shoegaze band. I love them.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, I'm just trying to, like a lot of things, I'm trying to paint a picture just to show you what the music scene was like. Like this is a year before Nirvana, before Blur and Oasis sort of had their big hits. This is the way English music was sort of going, and I found it really interesting the way the English scene was where the North American scene was about to get a lot heavier, where you got bands like Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam coming out, and the English went a little bit different. They went a little bit more dancey and a little bit more indie. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a very dancey, almost whimsical song. Like it's super carefree and just like you can tell they had fun making this song. They probably have lots of fun performing it, and I'm sure it was really fun to hear in a club. Mm-hmm. So I guess that just shows the continental differences at the time.
Yeah, it got really interesting. 1990, 1991 was a very odd year for music, and so the song I'm going to get you to listen to next week is another song from the 1990s. We're going to listen to the Charlatans with The Only One I Know. So again, another song that has a really good dance groove and a really cool band from the early 90s in England.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that, and I'll give you your song for next week. Yep. It is The Zone by Lil Yachty. Have I got you to listen to any Lil Yachty on this podcast?
I don't know if you have, actually. I know the name. No, I don't think we have, so this will be a new one for me. Yeah,
so Lil Yachty put out a psychedelic album this year, and it was... it was a shock. Let me just say that. Cool. Very big departure from his previous sound. And I also must preface it or give you the disclaimer that within the next day, I may send you a link to a different song for next episode.
Okay. No problem.
Because I have really only listened to this album as a complete product, and a lot of the songs blur together in my head.
So sure.
This may not be the one that I'm thinking of that I want you to listen to.
No problem. Yes,
but I'll let you know.
We'll take it forward from there, yeah.
Yeah, so The Zone, Lil Yachty for now.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we're looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into a little bit of this day in music history. All right, so this one's a little bit sad. On this day in 1968, do you know who Roy Orbison is?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So Roy Orbison, a house in Nashville burnt down, and his two eldest sons died in the fire. And Orbison was touring the UK at the time, so wasn't home. Two of his older sons died. Roy Orbison has a very sad life. A lot of death and destruction happened around him. He wore black for most of his life because of all the grief that happened to him, and he always wore dark sunglasses again to contribute to that feeling of grief that he had. It was just one of those weird lives that Roy Orbison had.
Yeah, I feel like I knew that, like just how sort of tragic his story was, which just goes to show, he really did have a tough go of things.
So yeah, legendary artist, one of the great crooners of the modern music age. So we're going to listen to a song that I thought would be fitting. We're going to listen to "Only the Lonely" by Roy Orbison. Darren, let's play a little clip of "Only the Lonely."
But only the lonely.
Thank you, Darren. So there's Roy Orbison with "Only the Lonely," one of the greatest songs ever recorded from the 19. I'm going to say that was, God, that would have been the 50s or 60s when that song came out. So one of those great songs from the day.
Yeah. Good stuff. I like Roy Orbison.
So tell me, what are your plans for the rest of the week?
Well, I'm seeing the Blue Jays tomorrow, playing the Rangers. Or sorry, today actually.
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah, seeing that tonight. Going out with some friends, some belated birthday celebration drinks tomorrow, and then I work on Saturday. But I also wanted to do a brief concert review because I saw Peter Gabriel with my dad on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, how was that?
That was really, really good. Yeah, I've sort of heard Peter Gabriel my whole life because obviously my dad's a massive fan.
Huge fan,
yeah. So, always liked Peter Gabriel. And yeah, he put on a fantastic show. His voice was great. Obviously his keyboard playing was amazing. The light show was sick. The whole band was great. He did play a lot of new material. I'd say I think he played like his whole forthcoming album. Like I think he played every song from it.
Sure, yeah.
But a lot of it was actually really good. Like I thought so anyway. I don't know how the real Peter Gabriel fans feel about the new material. I thought it was good.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And then he played the hits, of course. It was really cool. I'm really glad I got to go to that and experience it with my dad, obviously, because he's such a huge fan.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Where was the show?
It was at Scotiabank Arena, the ACC.
Okay. So big crowd.
Yeah, huge crowd. Yeah, and he closed with Biko, which is my favorite Peter Gabriel song. And it was awesome live.
Yeah, my favorite Peter Gabriel song is "Wash in the Water."
Yeah, he played that.
Love that song. I think his vocal performance on the record, at least, his vocal performance is just stellar. I always said if I could, I can't sing because my voice is terrible. But if I could sing, I would want to sing like Peter Gabriel because I think his voice is just perfect.
Yeah, I agree. He's got a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
He played "Washing in the Water" and "Digging in the Dirt" from that album.
Okay. Yeah, I love those songs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Cool. I did a photography job today. Right now in Australia, there's a lot of kids that are going to their formals. And so I'm doing a lot of I did a family pictures today of a girl who's going to the formal, and I did some pictures with her family. And I'm doing another one tomorrow, and I'm doing a wedding Saturday and a dance performance Sunday. But the one today was quite interesting. She hired me because I was Portuguese and they're Portuguese. So finally my Portugueseness is making me money here in Australia, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it's helping you out. It's coming clutch for you.
Yeah. So yeah, finally, I can and I can I can make some money off that. And it was really funny too because she gave me like a $50 tip, and
nice.
I went home with a bottle of wine. So I can't complain about that.
Not bad. Not bad.
No,
at
very
all.
Portuguese. Yeah.
Very. Was it port?
Yeah. So that it was actually, yes.
That's funny.
So yeah. So that was really cute. That's something your grandmother, my mother would have done. They would have been sent home with like sweet rice or a bottle of wine of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish with our independent artist. Now, this is actually kind of a funny story for independent artist. So as I said, I've recently moved to a different house, and it's in a different suburb of where I was previously. And I was in the grocery store in the frozen food section, if you must know, looking at blueberries. And I was wearing a U2 shirt. It was U2 War. And this gentleman approached me and he goes, "I love U2." And I said, me too, obviously. And he had a Rage Against the Machine shirt. And we just started talking. And he is a musician.
Oh, no way.
So he told me he started playing guitar because of U2 music, and that he was in a band. And I was like, well, I have a podcast and I feature independent artists. So he sent me one of his songs. So his name is Paul Rogers, and the song we're going to listen to is "Don't Place Me in the Past." So we've become friendly, and we're going to go out and get a cup of coffee soon. And it's just weird how you two in the frozen food section of a grocery store led us to a song and a buddy. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's a good story.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Rogers. Oh, that sounded weird. Okay. No, thank you, Paul. Not Mr. Rogers. That's a different thing altogether. Thanks, Paul, for letting us play your song. And if you have any other music that you want us to play, please, let me know. And we might even do an interview with Paul coming up, and just to talk about music and whatnot. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, very fun.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, Nicholas. We will talk to you next week.
You got it.
The cynic man inside of me said, why did this begin? And if I had to lose it all, it was nothing like I planned. You cannot watch a movie twice, life's linear one way. You cannot deviate, fixed path, my fault lines brought you shame. And the road will fall amongst every day we planned. So couldn't dry you off. You moved on in one day. I said you moved. Don't you place me, don't you place me, don't you place me in the past with your other boys on the shelf of discarded toys with no reason for embellishment, where we diminish what the journey meant. Then you banned me from the dojo when I can't go back again. And I've never seen a dojo come unrattled by one man. You sunk my pride and borrowed loans, my voice without consent. You turned the dial of freedom up some months before I left. And the road will fall amongst every day we planned. So couldn't dry you off. I said you moved on in one day. So glad you moved. Don't you place me, don't you place me, don't you place me in the past with your other boys on the shelf of discarded toys with no reason for embellishment, where we diminish what the journey meant, where we diminish what the journey meant. Thank God that my friends were there. Thank God that my friends were there. Thank God that my friends were there. So glad you knew. Don't you place me, don't you place me, don't you place me in the past with Here are the boys on the shelf, on discarded toys, with no reason for embellishment. Well, we diminish what the journey meant. Well, we diminish what the journey meant.
You've been listening to Just Hit Play. To contact your hosts, Peter and Nick, or to be featured on an episode as musical talent, email justhitplay7300@gmail.com. Keep up to date with news and announcements by following on Instagram and Facebook, linked in the show notes. Subscribe on your favourite podcatcher to tune in next week for more sonic delights. And if you can't wait till then, check out the Just Hit playlist on Spotify, linked in the show notes. A special thanks to Braden Munch for the theme song, and thank you for listening.